My name is Shawn Carlson, and I work for Time to Revive.
My name is Myron. I work for the JER Chilton YMCA here in Rockwall. I am the aquatics director. I oversee the pool.
So my wife and I live next door to a gentleman named Dustin, who just happens to be Myron's supervisor. And as we were preparing for Revive Texas, which was in 2017, Dustin and I had the idea, what if we came up to the YMCA and shared the gospel with everybody that we could?
On that day, I was actually prepping for swim lessons, and I was kind of going back and forth from the pool deck back to my office, and Revive Texas so happened to be in the office and kind of pulled me in. You know, it surprised me, but you know, they asked me, say, hey, you want to hear the gospel? And you know, months even before that, I had been questioning, you know, my faith and you know what's out there for me, and you know, I want to believe. You know, they came and shared the gospel with me, and they said 5 words, and those 5 words, you know, ended up getting me baptized that day, and changed my life dramatically. And you know, from then on, I was so excited. I called people just to let them know, and then there was just this feeling of like, oh man, this is awesome.
Well, when we started Revive School, and Eric and I felt like we needed to have our own discussion group, our own group that meets to talk about the daily readings. As we started praying about who was to be in our group, Myron was the very first name that came to both of our minds. And so I texted him, I reached out, I said, hey, let's do breakfast. And then we began to talk about his journey since being baptized and accepting the Lord. And in his description of his journey, he said, man, I really need to start learning more of the Word. And I said, well, great, because I have a great opportunity for you. Would you be interested in joining our discussion group? We're going to be reading through the whole Bible in 2 years. And he said, yeah, I'd love that.
I needed to surround myself with people, you know, that would help me. And so, you know, being able to you know, to do weekly readings and things like that was an interest to me. So, you know, we kind of went on from there.
First of all, he was reading King James Version, so you know, very difficult version of the Bible to read. But the stuff that he was bringing out was like, wow, this dude he's serious about reading the Bible, and he's getting a lot out of it. And it was a joy, it was a blessing to have him in our group.
I like to you know, be in a setting where, you know, where people around me are encouraging me instead of you know the other way around. So instead they were very welcoming, and I felt like, oh yeah, this would be really great for me to learn, you know, because you know I'm unfamiliar with it, and I didn't know how to do it, and so you know it was a good way for me to actually learn how to do it.
So we meet once a week in our discussion group for Revive School, and in that discussion group, it's structured. We're talking about the lessons, we're going through the discussion questions. Myron and I, maybe about once every 6 weeks or so, we get together for breakfast and just say, how you doing? You know, what's the Lord doing in your life? He's getting ready to get married right now, and so how is your pre-marriage counseling going? Let's just talk about life things that we don't really get the opportunity to discuss in our evening discussion group.
I take it as an opportunity to really get to you know, to get to know Shawn personally, and really just have those conversations, those normal conversations.
Yeah, but I think it's iron sharpening iron. I think discipleship is people getting together, growing one another. Obviously, there's an aspect of I have something to offer, so I'm gonna bless somebody with it. But they have something to offer as well that they're blessing me with. I think we get into a sticky spot or trouble when we try to force it and say, we're gonna get together and I'm gonna teach you everything that I know. No, we're gonna grow together.
You know, Shawn invited me to his church to have the opportunity to share the gospel, and that was the first time I've ever done that. And you know, that was an experience of its own. You know, learning, but now being able to teach what you know.
So people ask the question, how does this last for 2 years? A friendship like this, and it really is mutual. Myron has a shepherd's heart, and so he's always reaching out, finding out how people are doing, send the text. And I've actually learned from that, and so I've actually tried to be intentional about sending a text, just in the relationship, in the relationship part of it. Hey, you coming tonight? Or hey, you missed tonight. Hope you're doing well.
I do like how Shawn, you know, will just mid-conversation stop and then pray. He won't let anybody know he's praying, and he just starts to pray. It always makes me laugh. I mean, he won't stop the conversation, but he'll say like, hey, everything's done.
Let me pray. You're not doing it right. But the thing on Myron, and this is part serious, part the thing on Myron, he's a prayer warrior. And I asked him, the very first prayer request I gave him is, the grass in my front yard has not been growing. And I was like, we were talking about prayer and fervent prayer, and I was like, dude, I pray for my grass every day. And he's like, I'll start praying for your grass. And my grass is growing. And so I'm like, dude, keep on praying for my grass, because it's looking good.
We'll talk about it every so often. I'll say, hey, I'm talking about your grass, praying about your grass.
One of the ways that I've grown, and it's been kind of a surprise, is I've had guys pour into me and push me and mentor me in my life, and I didn't realize that I didn't have somebody that I was doing that for until recently, and so this has just been an opportunity for me to kind of pass that on, the things that I've received from people who've gone before me, who are older than me. And then the second thing is there's a different accountability to the scriptures when you have to know that you'll be explaining something in a D group lesson, or that somebody might ask you a question, and you just have to, there's a new level of accountability, which forces me to grow and dig in and research. And that has been really good for me.
At that time, I was like, you know what? The most important thing is now I have Christ in my heart, and I was like, I just want it, all right. And then I wasn't really thinking about what I was going to do, moving forward. And so just having Shawn and his family and the people that we meet with in our group, like on my journey with me, vice versa, me being on their journey as well, I think is important. And it's hard to actually think about, what it would be like if I didn't have them.